A Man in a Mare's World. Prologue. Escape.
Human, why hast thou intruded upon our lands?
The shaking form crawled backwards from the towering Amazonian figure, the darkness of the forest giving her already dark coat of fur and even blacker visage. In the moonlight that cast down upon the clearing of a forest, the reflection of silver shoes, a silver crown, and a piece of accessory similar to a gorget were visible on the looming threat to the cowering and trembling human. Two turquoise eyes glared at him as he backed into a tree trunk, sticking to it, and grasping at the bark as the loud-voiced female scared the wits out of him with her barking tone alone, never mind the 6 or 7 foot tall stature. The Amazon female stepped closer to the small figure, whom she indicated as a human. Her longsword was pointed at him, the tip just about a foot away from him, as the human himself had no idea what was going on. One moment he was walking home from a camping trip with his friends, then a flash of light knocked him out. Next thing he knew, he was here, in this wild and bizarre forest full of new creatures. It was only a few minutes, probably a quarter of an hour, before this Amazon came down from the skies, bearing wings on her back and a horn on her head. Oh, and the very sharp sword that she wielded. The human continued to try and back away, as another figure, similar to the one threatening him, landed behind her. Unlike the first female, this one was about a foot or so taller, and bore a soothing white coat of fur on her frame. Her accessories were nearly identical to the darker counterpart, but they all were colored with a golden sheen. On her shoulder, she rested a large battle axe on standby. Unlike the first woman, this second one had no need for the weapon, and merely just kept it as a just-in-case measure.
Luna, calm yourself.
The tall figure grasped the smaller, darker one the human now knew as Luna. Looking up at the taller one, Luna reluctantly lowered her blade, though not by much. She was still on edge, and with her only knowledge of humans stemming from legends, she had no idea if this creature was a threat. Fortunately for her, and much to her shock, the taller white entity confirmed her suspicion.
Can you not see that this human is but a mere scared and frightened child?
Luna blinked as her blade touched the ground, her eyes scanning the creature once more. The maturity that comes with age was absent from the human that sat in front of her, and he did not have the war scars or the facial hair, or even the lack of baby fat. The taller figure was right. This human was a youngling.
Oh dear, you're right, sister.
Luna pulled her sword away entirely, sheathing it on her hip as she knelt down. The human backed away even further as she rose her hand up, making her flinch as she was familiar with that treatment from her own subjects. The fear. The apprehension. She backed away and allowed the taller white Amazon to take charge of the situation. With Luna pulled away, the other knelt down in her place, examining this small child of another species. Sensing his immense fear, she held out a hand to him, this time with more care as to not frighten him further.
Please do not be alarmed. I apologize for the first impressions. I can assure you, you are not in any danger.
She brought her hand back, resting it on her chest.
My name is Princess Celestia Soul. I am one of the 2 co-rulers of this land and the one to raise and lower the sun.
She motioned to Luna.
This is my little sister, Princess Luna. She is the other co-ruler and the one to raise and lower the moon.
She moved her hand back to the child.
Do you have a name? My mama never told me to give my name to strangers.
He crawled back some more as she attempted to coo and bring him closer.
I do not want to hurt you, child. This is a very dangerous forest that has monsters in it. Please, let me help you. What do you want with me?
Celestia blinked at his question, confused as to why he asked that. It seemed as if he was more perceptive than she knew, and that there was an underlying motive to her taking him.
Young one, I do not want any harm to come to you, but you must understand. I have brought you here to this land of harmony and peace, to help it grow and rejuvenate a lost gender to a species.
The human blinked as she relaxed, sitting down more to explain.
You see, young one, our world is populated only by females. Every species, every race, only one gender dominates. However, it wasn't always like this. Creatures like you used to roam free like us, with equal rights and equal treatment. But something happened. Over 12,000 years ago, a pandemic swept over the world, targeting only male members of every race and species, effectively wiping out husbands and sons. We have been desperately attempting to locate a resurgence using magic, but as I feared, it didn't work. Equestria needs the organic touch of a male to bring back the other half of its kingdom.
She pointed at the human.
Thus, we used our magic to summon you. One with a perfect genus that aligns with an equistallion. Your task, your journey, is to bring back the male demographic.
The human sat there, listening to Celestia's words and all their meanings. Out of them, he understood one all too well. Something that happened with his sister, and something that he was told in health class that was always bad. These two wanted him for purposes of non-consensual intercourse. They wanted him to be a pet. A breeding stock. He may be only 13 years old, but he was smarter than most knew. Good grades, great perception, and he could sniff out a lie like a wolf could sniff out its prey.
Wait, you want me to... What? No!
He crawled further back, passing the tree as Celestia watched him with a frown.
No! Stay away from me! I know what you want! I'm not gonna end up like her! She wouldn't want me to! Get away! Child, please. We understand your feelings, but we cannot allow... No! I am not gonna do that! I am not gonna live like a slave!
He turned and attempted to run away, but was stopped when a blue aura surrounded him, lifting him up into the air.
I am truly sorry, youngling, but thou hast no choice. We offered you salvation and a peaceful life upon your task, and you reject it. Thus, we must take matters into different circumstances. Help! Somebody, please!
Celestia deepened her frown as the child struggled in Luna's magical hold. She honestly didn't want things to go down like this, but for the sake of her kingdom, one life is worth millions more like his. Closing her eyes, she bid her apologies to the child silently before turning and spreading her wings, preparing to fly back to Canterlot. But a distant howl stopped them.
What was that? Sister, look out!
Celestia turned to the side as she was tackled the moment she registered what was happening. A monster made of wood stood atop her, gnashing at her with splintering jaws. Grunting, she stabbed the hilt of her battle axe through the canine creature's jaw, pushing it off her as Luna, releasing the human, stabbed the wooden wolf through the center, killing its core.
Sister, our presence here has disturbed the Timberwolf pack.
Celestia brushed herself off as she gripped her battle axe.
We cannot protect ourselves and the child. We must flee. Grab the human and let's return.
Luna nodded, turning to where she left the small creature. Her eyes widened when she realized that he wasn't there anymore.
It's gone!
Celestia spun around, seeing that her little sister's words were true. She gritted her teeth as Luna cursed herself, the two turning back to the pack of wooden dogs as they were coming closer from the shrubbery and tree line.
We must go, Luna! But the human! We have lost our chance today. If he is alive, we will try again another time.
Luna's jaw went slack before she narrowed her eyes, taking a sharp breath and taking off with her sister, following her lead. As they left the forest behind, the human that escaped sprinted as best as he could through the forest, going at his own pace now that nothing was chasing him. His emotions pricked at him as he continued through the dark and damp environment. Questions about his whereabouts and what's even happening swarming the forefront of his mind. Soon, he found himself out of breath and slowed to a sluggish walk. Collapsing onto his knees, he panted hoarsely, hugging himself as a harsh breeze hit him briskly.
I want to go home.
Home. Was there even a home for him to return to? Memories of what came before his confrontation with a blue horse lady named Luna were foggy and vague. Only a few names and even fewer visions were present. One thing that he couldn't recall, though, was himself. Staring forward in horror, he mouthed his thoughts.
I forgot my name?
He looked down at his hands as flashes of those visions plagued him, showing brief images he didn't understand. Letting out a few sobs, he was about to fall flat into the grass, had a voice not have stopped him first.
Oh, what is this I see? A small wanderer, limp and free?
He turned his eyes up, seeing a figure wrapped up in a dark gray cloak approaching him.
Come, small one. This is not a place where many played in one.
She knelt down in front of him as he shimmied backwards, but with no stamina left to give and his mind rattling on, the pressure of the situation finally claimed him, and he fell into her arms.
Dear me, you are quite fragile, for some pony so small and agile.
The human said nothing more, as he was lifted into the air, crackled by the cloaked woman, as she turned and walked further into the forest.
Do not fret, my little creature. Nothing in this forest will hurt your features.
She brushed the dirt from his hair and he closed his eyes, leaning against her as he began to fall asleep. As he did, the woman hummed, giving his head a gentle pat as she stopped in front of a hut.
You are weak and defenseless. I will take care of you until you are no longer senseless.
I don't know what I'd do in that situation, at that age, because my chances of survival are slim to none, and yeah, all options are not looking great. However, we got some really great donators right here. Top donators, Dash of Evergreen, Peter Coulthard, J Tinman, and Darkside. Dospo, RuneScythe9852, CourierCruz CI, Delta Omega, Ryanny Dragonwolf, Secret Moon, Tallrascha, The Toilet Snake, SoulDragon, Cerberus, Starlight Glimmer, Squiddy Boy, David D. Sanchez, Gaggy, Trey, Shadow Drake, Joe Piercy, Alex F., Rainbow Dash, Teal K. Anderson, and TV Killer. Thank you all very much for watching this video. Live life to the fullest, and don't get captured.